Hello, my beautiful soul family. It is me, Tariq Bliss BB. I'm here with a very special guest today, Vinolan Dragonheart. He's our infinity healer. He's been doing entity clearing and healing for some time now and actually helps a lot of our clients scan and see where if they have any negative interferences. And then if they do start to work with us, all right. And so he, like I said, does these amazing scans where he can confirm if there's interference in the home, negative energies, entities. He's done amazing work with high-level healers that are in our network. And they're doing all this great work, but there's some negative interference that's affecting their energy, their sleep, their health, their abundance, their relationships, and people have been sharing amazing feedback of the results and how thorough and how they're just mind blown, to be honest, when they work with Vinolan. So give a special warm welcome to Vinolan. Vinolan, thanks, my man, for being here. Thanks for taking the time to be with us and share with us. Maybe let them know a little bit more about you and how did you get into all this work?
Hi, Tariq. Thanks for having me. Uh,
Pleasure.
so, yeah, my journey started probably 20 years ago. Um, well, actually started a lot before that. Uh, but essentially, when I was growing up, when I was a young teenager as well, I used to have a lot of entity interferences. One of the ways it used to manifest is, for example, when I used to dream, I was always being chased by some kind of being or
Yeah.
uh, a few of the times I remember that I was actually having dreams where there were aliens and there were UFOs, and it was a lot of weird stuff where I was always being kind of chased. And there was one very specific incident, I think I was about 14 years old, where there was a sleep paralysis entity that was actually traumatizing me for about a week. So I don't know if you're familiar with it, but maybe a few of your listeners might have been familiar with what this type of being is, where it actually sits on top of your chest and it tries to choke you. And when you try to scream or when you try to wake up, you can't really do anything because you're kind of
Have the
paralyzed.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So after about a week of this, I kind of got tired at that young age and I decided to actually fight back. So it was a specific night that I told myself, I'm going to wait for this being to actually come towards me. And then I'm going to change my auric field into spikes and I'm going to stab it. So there I was lying on the bed, and eventually I fell asleep, but my mind was still able to be conscious as my body was falling off to sleep. And then I sensed this being enter the room, and it got on top of me and it tried to choke me. And as soon as it tried to choke me, I had this smile amongst myself, and I said, I got you. And made as sharp spike as I could, stab this being. You could feel the fear that this being actually felt, and then from then I never was bothered by this being again.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was pretty cool for me.
And this weapon is in your mind's eye, in your imagination, in the astral.
Yeah, it was in the astral, it was in my imagination because what you create in your imagination, it does
Becomes
manifest in the astral and can
got
also have effects in the 3D as well.
got it. I was studying this movie yesterday called Venom. Have you seen the movie series?
Yes,
So
I have.
there's one, two, and three. Have you seen the third one?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
It's interesting because there's like a Lucifer or like a Satan type character who was banished and wants to return, and there's these dark entities that possess humans, and somehow it's connected to viruses and outer space beings. It's revealing a lot. I highly recommend people study it. But one of the things that really stuck out for me in the third one is they were saying there was a hippie character who had a picture of some kind of like entity realm, and he was explaining to the main character who is possessed by Venom. He was saying, "Yeah, this is a place where you can connect to the higher realms or something." And then the main character goes, "That dimension is open now more than ever." Like they're basically telling us that this portal between our world and the other world, and series like Stranger Things are basically saying there's a spirit realm and there's our realm, and that veil is getting thinner and thinner, and there's going to be more entities in this world. So please let us know about just the basics. Someone who doesn't know about entities, what are these dark entities? What do they want with us? Why are they here? How do we know if we're impacted by them?
So the dark entities are interdimensional beings, and what they want is to feed off you. Essentially, we are a food source to them, and the way they feed off us is through our stressful emotions that they can help generate. And the way some of them do this is by getting into a contract with you so that you're always stuck in a loop trauma. For example, maybe it's a situation of getting into a relationship with someone. It's the same kind of trauma that you experience with them. Maybe they're in an abusive relationship. And every time you get into a new relationship, it's exactly the same scenario with the same kind of person, and you're feeling the same kind of stresses. So what might be going on there, because it's not the case all the time, but what might be going on there is that you have signed a contract, perhaps in your dream state, or perhaps before you were born, with this being, so
Mm,
that when you get into this relationship, you'll have all of these emotions, the highs, the lows, and then the final stress where you can't take it anymore, for which this entity then feeds off that emotion and that energy.
mm,
And then when you break it off, the entity actually attracts the same kind of person into your life.
right.
And then the cycle just rinses and repeats over and over again until you break it. And I want to highlight that is not the case all the time, but they do have a way of getting quite creative in terms of the loops that they want to create.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So there's a series called, is it called Happy Place? No, what is it called? It's on Netflix. Um, The Good Place. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, if you study that series, or what I like to do is you go to YouTube and say summary of The Good Place, and it'll just take, because it's like several seasons, it just summarizes the whole thing. And if you look at it, it seems very light and positive and fun, but it's literally an architect in the after realm, in the realm after here, and how he purposely puts soulmates together in order to increase it's a misaligned soulmate connection, but he brings them together and to feed off of them, basically, if you can see it that way. So everything you're saying is in this series, The Good Place. So yeah, interesting you say that. So, and another movie to study is Monsters Inc. Have you seen that one?
Yeah,
They're
that's
extracting the
the
energy.
so-called kiddies movie. That's actually
Yeah,
more like a disclosure than anything.
it's
But
very
essentially like that. I mean, in a lot of the spiritual circles, they refer to this energy or this excess energy as loosh.
loose
Uh,
energy, right?
yeah,
Robert Monroe is the OG who coined that
yeah.
term. Yeah. So we've got entities. Their food is our emotion, and whether it's sexual, whether it's fear, whether it's drama in relationships, it's important for us to know that these energies are could be feeding these entities. So how do we know if there is an entity? Because we also don't want to blame entities for our own dramas in our lives, but how can we know what are some of the signs or symptoms of having interferences?
With some of the symptoms, it just comes down to a matter of awareness because generally you will know who you are and generally you will know how you behave in certain situations or circumstances. So if you find yourself getting overly erratic, if you find yourself becoming incredibly snappy at certain people, especially those that you love, then
Hmm.
chances are that there might be some interferences. So there
Right.
will be different degrees of these kinds of interferences. For example, they could just be hanging around you. And because of that claustrophobic um, effect, your body can just kind of react, or your mind could just react towards the people that you love.
Hmm.
Um,
You're not yourself suddenly that's
Exactly. I think you summarized it quite nice. You're just not yourself.
yeah,
So once again, it's not all the time that these are the symptoms, but I know personally when I had these experiences due to a large number of entities, I was also not myself.
right.
Sometimes they actually can latch onto you. For example, if you know of anybody who would frequent places like pubs, uh,
Yeah.
different kinds of bars, you can actually pick on an entity that has passed over, but it was an alcoholic spirit, for example.
Okay.
And this entity can then increase your desire to have more and more drinks because it still wants to partake in that emotions, in that feeling of getting high, in that depression, if that's what the guy is drinking
Yeah.
for. So yeah, that's also one of the ways that they can attach. You can have sleepless nights, once again, with the nightmares.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe with your family members, you look at them and you can see this glazed look in their eyes, and you can say, no, they don't look the way that I look them, and they feel kind
Yeah.
of different.
They feel
So yeah,
different.
yeah, there
And
are a number
intrusive
of
thoughts, that's another one, right? Where you're just going in loops about a negative, like feeling negative towards someone out of nowhere. It could mean
yes.
that you're picking up on an entity that like kind of poked you or found a way to hook on you, and now it's feeding off of you continuously thinking negatively about someone.
Yeah, there could be interferences there. For example, you may come across a stranger or someone that you don't know really, really well, but maybe you have just met their acquaintance one or two times. But for some reason, there's an inexplicable anger from yourself towards them, and you're not
Um,
sure why.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that also could be a sign of some kind of
Cats
entity
pick that up, right?
influences.
When cats are like on someone, a dog like aggressively barks or a cat reacts negatively, they might be picking up that the person has an ST as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So, and based on the work that you've done with some of our clients, they were saying like there was some kind of bad luck or feeling like they weren't able to break through with their businesses or just negative experiences, clients not paying, or feeling really drained and depleted. And yeah, so based on the work that you've done with some of our clients, they then feel like there's momentum, they're back in flow, they're back in their power. Uh, yeah, yeah. So bad luck, feeling stuck. If you're like, why do these things keep happening? Maybe something to look into. Okay, so when people are booking these breakthrough calls with you, you offer these free 15-minute kind of entity scans, breakthrough calls. What are some of the people, like I get some of the lists and it's a pretty long list, but what are maybe the top three, four things that you can pinpoint for someone in a scan like that?
I think the most common one is spirits that have passed over.
Okay,
Yeah, or disembodied spirits. So essentially, what happens is you'll get these beings or these persons who have passed over. They're still wandering around. Some of them, like the movie The Sixth Sense, they
okay,
don't even know that they've passed over.
right,
But uh, when they come across certain people, they feel that there's a kind of an energy source or a light source for them to hang around and kind of
right,
sustain because it is kind of attractive. Uh,
yeah,
a lot of people that do spiritual work, they emit a kind of a light, uh,
yeah,
and the entities are attracted to that. And a lot
okay,
of people who are also wallowing in their own misery, if perhaps they have depression, that can also provide like an attractive energy for these kinds of
okay,
spirit. It just depends on what is there within the person uh, that these entities can then kind of latch onto or hook
right,
onto. So, with these kind of things, it has a lot to do as well with what the person themselves is going on with in their lives.
yeah,
What are the other traumas that they've experienced that actually causes their energy fields to open up to these beings.
yeah,
So yeah, disembodied spirits, that definitely is a big one. The other thing is also vows and contracts that show themselves. I think we did cover this in terms of before. Uh, the vow would be perhaps in a past life you may have taken a vow of poverty, and because of that vow, as soon as you get money in this lifetime, it leaves you, and that's just because of that standing vow that you have in place. Another vow would be perhaps you had a vow of celibacy,
Right,
and you're wondering why your relationships are not kind of working out. Maybe
right.
there's a lot of guilt coming through because of that. Yeah, the vow of celibacy could be one of the reasons why that is also in place. So not doesn't necessarily have to be entity related.
Yeah,
Could it be just a vow that you've taken because of a lifestyle that you had previously in a previous life?
right.
But sometimes there might be an entity that's attached to that as well.
Got it. I mean, I did do a plant medicine ayahuasca ceremony once, and this brother, a friend of mine, said that his grandfather was in the Freemasons or something like that, and he had to clear a lot of courting and entity stuff in his like sacral area because of whatever his granddad did. So yeah, we've had clients who said like spells were put on their parents or grandparents. That does pass on to children and grandchildren if it's not resolved, right?
Correct. So with us, a lot of things is actually handed down from our ancestors to present day, and it's stored in our DNA.
Mm,
It's in our blood. It is running there on programs,
right.
and it's just goes down through decades and decades of lineages if it's not resolved.
Yeah, I want to talk about like the dark forces I feel have infiltrated almost everything in our in the matrixy reality. So media, meaning music people are listening to, movies we're watching, books that people are writing. It's merging. It's inspired by, even the Monsters drink has supposedly 666 in Hebrew. Like uh, commercials. Yeah, like, can you speak on that? How do those things we're talking about our Marilyn Manson phase when we were younger, and I shared how indirectly I felt like I opened up a portal to darker influences through an album, a music album when CDs were a thing. Can you explain to our audience how dark forces use the media to negatively influence us?
Well, it comes down to the interconnectivity to everything in reality. Everything is energy, and energy can be influenced by your intention. Uh, as such, any human has the ability to imprint any type of material, be it digital or an actual physical uh, material with their intentions as such. You've seen many healers actually do this. For example, perhaps they would encode some kind of an image with specific healing intentions or the
Yeah.
specific healing audios. You and me, we've also done it where
We do it
we've
with
had,
infinite healing. Yeah,
yeah,
we
with
put it
infinity
onto
healing.
jewelry. We put it onto music. Yeah, all my music that I create has infinity healing in it. Yeah,
And I'm sure perhaps many of your listeners, if you were to listen to some of your previous shows. The healing is kind of encoded and stored on the recording. So if you play the recording back, they're able to get the same kind of effect.
yeah,
But we've done this in the open. So you have to ask yourself, what about all of the movies that we watch?
right.
What about all of the music that we listen to? Has there ever been a case where you can't get a specific song out of your head? It's just playing over and over and over again, and you're not sure
Uh,
why. So where's it coming from? At the end of the day, people can send out the intention in a specific song to say whoever listens to this, they're gonna love it. They're gonna want to listen to it over and over and again. They're gonna want to buy the album, and that's the
yep.
kind of hidden intention that's there.
It's
So
a
that
spell. They put a spell on it.
essentially, yeah,
Yeah,
that's just a mild example.
yeah,
Once you start getting to some of perhaps the darker intentions, the darker bands, that's when you start getting other interesting things happening, like portals opening up when you listen to a specific song, or even if you're playing a specific type of game on the PlayStation or an Xbox,
right.
especially with some of the horror games, that can also open up some kind of a portal where
Right.
these darker energies can come through, which can
Okay.
lead to entity interferences as well.
Okay. Interesting because the movie yesterday, they show you that Satan character and he sends minions out through these portals, like go into our realm. So that's one thing you spoke about. There's a scene at the very beginning where the entity gets the guy to actually drink a lot of alcohol, which there's a connection, right? Like in Arabic, the word alcohol comes from the Arabic root word al-ghul, and that's where we get the word ghoul.
Mhm.
So spirits and spirit, right? Like they call alcohol spirits. So there's a connection between literally in the word in the what is it, etymology of the word,
Mm.
uh, al-ghul, alcohol, alcohol is the connection. And same thing with parasites. I feel inner parasites connecting with is connection with external parasites control, and that these spirits start to control, and the parasites control what we think and the actions that we do, right? So if every food we're eating is continuously feeding, it's sugar and carbs and it's feeding more parasites, are those our decisions? Or if an entity is attached to us and we're just wanting to have, let's say, like go to clubs all the time and have a lot of sex, or get into a lot of fights, that thing could be influencing our thoughts, right?
100%.
Yeah.
The parasite thing is such a can of worms, literally, uh, that you just mentioned it. But essentially, I do believe, and I have heard of entities and beings which are, well, possessing these parasites and then obviously hijacking your nervous system as such.
Hmm. Yeah. We recently did an event. If you guys missed it, it's called the Soul Mission Mastery event. The portal was on abundance, and it's on my YouTube channel. Vinolan was one of our special guests. He did a powerful group healing to do with EMFs. Can you talk to our audience in terms of how EMFs negatively impact us and what we can do about it, or how you help your
Uh,
clients clear it?
so EMF, or electromagnetic fields, they're being generated by electronic equipment. So if you look at our laptops, if you look at the new lights that's here, these LED lights,
Right.
um, your microwaves, your televisions, everything that's electronics has some kind of a field. And it does affect your brain and nervous system. So I found that out the hard way. Many years ago, I purchased a tablet. I won't mention who the manufacturer is, but I purchased basically it was like a big cell phone, right? That I'm running around, which is too big to kind of hold up to your ear because that looks kind of odd with a massive tablet. Say, hey, hello, how are you? Yeah, didn't want to be branded a clown for that, but what is the next step? The next step was to actually buy one of these Bluetooth devices, or
Right.
yeah, from the same brand maker. So
Bluetooth
essentially,
just means wireless for those of you that don't
yeah.
know.
So
Yeah.
this was a single one that you could just put into the ear, and plus I thought it looked pretty cool. I looked like a spy or something.
Yeah.
Um, so if you put it into your ear, I didn't have any problem. But as soon as I had a call, it was an instant headache that hit my entire
Yes, I get that
brain.
too. Yeah.
Instant headache
It's
to the
literally
point.
sending radiation between at your most delicate part in your brain.
Yeah, to the point where I think it was after about 2 weeks, I said, "Well, no more, I can't." I just went and got another cheaper phone and I carried on with my life.
Yeah.
But I, through my meditations, I was able to get some kind of a technology as such, a spiritual technology where we can generate frequencies. I mean,
Nice.
anyone can do it, right? But everything that you can think of has a frequency.
Yeah.
For those people who actually work through the solfeggio frequencies, different frequencies will make your body experience things differently and have different kinds of effects. But here's the thing, this entire world is made up of frequencies,
Hmm.
right? And our bodies are always under constant assault by different types of frequencies. So you have the electronic devices that we mentioned, okay? We have the cosmic frequencies that's coming out from the ethers. Closer to home, we have your microwave radiations, your cell phone towers, everything is kind of keeping you locked in a grid. And
Yeah.
different frequencies will have a different effect on you. I remember reading a book, I think it was Remote Viewing by Tim Raffat, and this was probably about 20 years ago. Well, in the book, they do mention that the American government was using or experimenting with some kind of microwave radiation guns that they used to shoot at people. And
Yeah.
when they use different frequencies on the person, it made them either depressed or it either made them suicidal. Uh, so that's just one of the ways that they can affect you.
Yeah, we've got cell phones, laptops, Wi-Fi routers, smart meters. I don't know if you guys have that
Mhm.
there, and 5G towers. All of those are emitting, and all the Bluetooth stuff is all emitting radiation in the form of EMFs. Yeah.
Yeah, and for those of us who have a lot of Wi-Fi routers up in our houses, perhaps a good experiment for you to try is switch off your Wi-Fi when you go to bed and notice the
Um,
quality of sleep
I do
that you're
that every
having.
night. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm so sensitive. I actually hear the waves, and even when I unplug my router, I'm still not only do I hear them, I feel them. It's like zzz, I feel it going through my body, so it's still picking up, unfortunately, other Wi-Fi's because of my neighbors and stuff like that. But definitely with Infinity Healing, do some activations for protections. Yeah. So Vinolan, I want our audience to know if any of this, like if you're feeling foggy, disempowered, sluggish, eating bad foods, bad habits, negative thoughts, not in your full power, feeling defeated, there could be there's a chance you could be bad luck, isolation, mental health is very connected to entities, depression, mental health, suicidal thoughts. All these are symptoms potentially. So definitely, what we want to do is support you guys. One of the number one things we get tons of requests on, tons of emails about is, hey, I think I have some NT stuff. Can you help me with it? So Nolan, this is one of his superpowers. It's one of his, he helps people with all sorts of things, but he also has a lot of experience, more than anyone I know, when it comes to this world of all the things that we're talking about: black magic, entities, evil eye, spirits, and being able to just clean the slate so you're back in your power, back in your freedom, back in your sovereignty, back in your protection, uh, and not negatively impacted by these beings, and back into your heart, back into your divine authority. So if anyone is feeling intuitively, like usually when people say, I wonder if I have, usually that means they have. They just need confirmation. So whether you're wondering, whether you're curious, feel free to reach out. We'll put a link below where Vinolin's going to offer maybe 10, 20, we'll see, breakthroughs for this month. And these are entity scans. So you can just scan your energy and give you feedback. Obviously, if he had a whole hour, he can spend 40 minutes doing a super thorough investigation and finding out what's going on all levels. There's so many things. We only covered a handful. But at least in the 15 minutes, he can confirm, are there entities, how many, maybe where they're hooked on. So you just simple confirmation if yes or no, if they're there. That's very important to know. And then maybe how many or some other information about what kind of entities or something like that. I'll leave it up to Vinolan to decide what he shares, but at least we can confirm if it's there or not. Feel free to book that in if you're wondering about that. And and then after that, if you're like, okay, now I know all this information, I want to do something about it, hop on a breakthrough call with me, and we'll let you guys know about the different packages we have to support you specifically with this. And me and Vinolan are actually going to create an 8 module program for entity clearing. We're going to include it for anyone who signs up to do those one-on-ones with Vinolan. We're going to include this healing audio program, 8 modules. We're going to cover everything. And also, for those of you who are interested, me and Vinolan basically spent a lot of time yesterday updating the Infinity Healing training, and it's going to have a whole section now about helping you as a healer, as an Infinity healer, if you're interested in taking the course, on how to help people clear, how to help yourself, and how to help others clear any entity influences. So we're going to be teaching that this Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. If you're interested, immediately email us at support@targetpv.com. Just say interested in Infinity Healing course so you can join us live, because the next time I'll be teaching it will be next year. And now more than ever, we need support from healers to step up and help clear these entities, because the veils are getting thinner and thinner, and there's basically a mass migration, mass just unleashing of these spirits in our realm. And it's now more important than ever to shield up, protect, activate our light bodies. And we put a lot of protocols to help us and others and our families do this protection so that we're not negatively impacted by them. So again, if you're interested in becoming an Infinity Healer and learning how to do this work, reach out, support@targetgroup.com. If you want to book in a breakthrough with Vinolan, we'll put in the link below. It'll take you right to his calendar. It's free, no obligation, but obviously leave it. Just leave it for those people, at least for the start, who have entities. They think they have entities, but they also want to get some session support to clear them. So let's prioritize for the people who actually want to invest in clearing those entities. And um, anything else you'd like to say before we conclude, Vinolan?
No, I think we pretty much
Yeah.
covered everything. Yeah.
Thank you, my man. This is so important. I would say it's the number one issue on our planet. I really would say this is the number one issue. It's a lot of times I'll intuitively ask my clients what percentage of their energy is going to these things. And I hear things like 90%, 80%, 70%. So if it's 70, 80, 90% affecting our finances, our relationships, our health, that's it's very detrimental. It's important that we take the first step and clear these things. And yeah, we got to learn how our enemy functions, how it works, what are its weaknesses, what are our weaknesses. This is spiritual warfare, so it's important we understand how these things work and how we can protect ourselves. And yeah, people like Vinolan are here to help support. That's like one of his superpowers, thanks to the negative experiences he's had. And I really love what you said, Vinolan, about the only way out, whether it's these entities, whether it's the parasitic elite, there's no escaping it. We got to fight back. We got to put the light on the bullies, expose them for who they are, and do it. The only way out is through. We can't go backwards. We can't run and hide. And in that movie yesterday, the entity sees a light. So it's like the whole planet, the whole city of New York, and they somehow see the person with this big light, and they just like track them down. So there's something about that, but not to give our power away. Like when your light body is activated, and it's one of the protocols, you can look up how to activate your light body. I'm going to upload a video on YouTube soon for free, like how to do a light body. On my website, you go to targetbb.com/gifts. One of the gifts is a light body activation. Um, that you're impenetrable. When your light body is activated, you're impenetrable. And I believe beings like the Buddha and Jesus talked about this, but it didn't end up in the final review of the books that they put out, at least in the Christian religion. So yeah, thank you, Vinolan, for your time, for your energy, for your heart, for all the support you've done since we started doing this more officially. And I think we're just getting started. I think more and more people are going to have great things, great results, and it's going to spread.
Thanks, Tariq, and thanks for having me.
Anytime, my man. All right, guys, check out the links below. If you know someone, if it's not you, but you know someone who could be struggling with that, a lot of kids are struggling with it. Um, it's a big takeover, guys. It's like a big military spiritual warfare takeover. So we got to push back. We got to protect our loved ones. And if you know someone who's struggling, let them know. Send them the link. We'll hop on and see what we can do to support. Love you guys. Connect soon. Big hugs. Remember, Infinity Healing this Saturday. Booking a breakthrough. Let's chat. And looking forward to that program that we're going to create, Vinolan. Love you, man.
You too, bro.
Uh, is there a way people can reach out to you? So my Instagram, social media, well, just tarikbb.com is the easiest way to reach me. What about you, Vinolan?
Uh, yeah, through my website would be the simplest, vindragonheart.com.
VinDragonheart, all one word, .com.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. See you guys there. Peace.